Hey there. Welcome back to Camp Wicked Wild, the Wicked Wild podcast spooky season special event. And we are past the halfway point, which is kind of bittersweet for us. And this week, as you heard in the cold open, we are doing archery week at camp. And this is one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. We're going to get into it, but it's a conversation that we had back in August when this movie came out. We're going to revisit at this point. But it's all about the bows and arrows and the technological wonders versus survival. So it's going to be an interesting conversation today. Before we jump into it, I want to introduce you to our hosts. We've got Jamie up in New York. So Jamie, I know you have, as we talked at the top of Camp Wicked Wild, you had kind of packed every weekend for October. Now that we're past the halfway point, how is it shaping up? Has it been a pretty good October for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. And there've been some disappointments, some surprises. I'm like frantically recording right now in between packing and doing a million things because I leave tomorrow for Halloween Horror Nights. So that'll hopefully be like that one of the high points of October. So
is that your crescendo for the season?
So I'll be in Universal Studios with a little stopover in Disney World on Sunday. But yeah, I'll be in Orlando this weekend. So starting tomorrow. So
what is the overarching theme this year? I don't even have any idea. Or is there a special one this year?
It's not like an overarching, I think there's like an overarching tagline. Usually that's about it. It's like, I think this year is don't go alone. I don't know. That's all that really does. Cause then it's just so there's always like 4 IP houses and then 5 original, give or take 9, at least in Orlando. It's a little different in LA. So I mean, I don't know if this should be on record. I'm not really excited about the IP houses this year, but their original houses are usually really good. And it's more of I'm going just to go with like my friend and have a good time and be there for, Halloween season. So It's always a good time to just be in Universal Studios.
Yeah, either way, it'll be like cranked up to 11 as far as the October decor. It'll be it's regardless of if they're doing stupid houses. I've gone for some stupid houses before. It's still just a fun time to be there. Exactly. If you can't get any more like on theme, on brand, in the spirit than Halloween Horror Nights during. So I've never been to one, but the way you've talked about it, I want to put it on the list.
I probably hype it up too much, but it's fun.
I would probably have more fun going with just me and the wife instead of trying to take the kids, because I think you'd have a totally different experience if you had to chase the kids around.
Well, it also depends on the age, because I will say it's not. There's Disney during Halloween and then there's Universal during Halloween. And Universal's thing outright is like, take the kids to Disney, adults come to you. I mean, there's bars open during Halloween Horror Night. You know what I mean? Like it's more of an adult oriented kind of event, which I appreciate because, we need that stuff.
Are they doing a Nope IP?
They're doing... No, that's in LA. They have the set. That's why they have.
That's what it was.
Jupiter's Claim. Yeah. So on the tram ride, they're doing it out in California.
Yeah, they've got a permanent fixture now.
And for Halloween Horror Nights, I think they're going to go through the area.
Cool. So that's been our podcast for the day. I'm glad it
yeah, sorry.
There, guys. We went down a rabbit hole there. So we've got Eli up in Pittsburgh. What's going on?
Just living the dream every day. Being the Mole King. So
did you, I figured of all of the rest of our hosts, you may have had a similar experience to me. Did it resonate with you? The handmade branch bows and the short bows. Did you ever do that as a kid?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We would, we'd do those. We'd also try to make the, throne sticks. The varmint sticks. Sometimes some people call them. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed like that. Because, we come from the woods, Dave. We're woodsmen.
Yeah, PSA for all of our audience, though. Never, ever, please, for the love of God, tie a rope to your tomahawk and try and fling it back to you. That is not going to end well.
No. Do you want to lose fingers? Or get a tomahawk to the neck? Because that's how you lose fingers, get a tomahawk to the neck.
So that's just our little friendly advice on that one. And then we've got John up in Michigan.
What's
Looking
going
forward
on?
to talking about predators tonight. I know you are our predator apologist within the crew. So are you excited about tonight?
Apologist. I mean, I would prefer the term of like champion or appreciator.
That's true. You don't have to defend them because they're perfect, right?
I wouldn't say they're no. Just like people, they're not perfect. They're special. They're unique. You could say some of them are misunderstood.
That's true. I just know that of creatures, they're high on your list of creature feature characters.
From the very first one. I mean, how could you not fall in love with a dreadlocked 7 foot tall muscular man in the woods in a bikini and fishnets? I mean,
yeah, he was rocking that outfit too.
He was.
Well, and I'd never put it together till just now when you said that. Is your love for Predator tied at all? Because I know one of your favorite classic creatures is the Gillman. And now that I think about it, they're very similar in aesthetic. Is there a tie?
You know what? You might have connected some dots
code?
that I've never. I do love Gillman, the creature. He's probably my favorite of all of them. But no, I've never put that 2 and 2 together. I think what I always appreciate about the Predator is the mystery. It's the invisible thing, and then after that you see the helmet, and then you don't know what's under the helmet, and then you get the big reveal at the end, and you're like, that is nothing like I would have ever imagined.
I wasn't expecting a crab face. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we can at least agree that John likes his monsters on the moist side. You like like monsters with a slick coat on them.
And I just love that term brings so much cringe to the internet universe. So we'll be sure to sprinkle that one in there.
Exactly. Moist monsters.
This conversation's getting grosser and grosser as we go.
Well, now, before he exits the episode without even getting started, we do want to introduce our special guest. We've got Joe Ferry joining us from Film at First Sight. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Nothing much. How you guys doing?
Doing very well. Excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Not only to talk about Prey, but you just even hang out. It's first time with the Wicked Wild crew on the podcast.
Well, I know you've picked up on this, but we set the bar pretty high as far as professional critique and movie know-how. So.
Have you heard my fucking show? There's bars. You guys have a bar. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're here we do more gabbing than anything. And I think our audience, anybody who's stuck with us has figured out that this is only a movie review in loose skeleton type. It's mainly about us getting together and talking trash on each other and having a good time. But Joe, we're so excited to have you. And we're going to talk a little more later in the podcast about some of the things you're doing on behalf of the Wicked Wild that we've been promoting over the last few weeks. Really excited about. So thank you for being
I very much appreciate that.
No worries. So as we do on every episode, we're going to kick it off with our on-the-fly synopsis. And as we have been doing on Camp Wicked Wild, we're going to have our special guest host pick who's going to get called upon. This week, I want you, Joe, to tell me which predator you prefer. Was it
I'm about to get real mad.
Was it the rattlesnake, the wolf, the hawk, or the bear?
I gotta go hawk.
Oh, hawk. Well, shoot, that means it's me.
Well, hold on a second. Wait.
No, you don't get to ask which one.
You don't get to ask
which
what you
animal am
are.
I?
Nope. That's for Dave to know and for you to never find out.
He's going to be doing math and like trying to.
I know what I should be.
What should you be?
What you think you should be.
Everybody, I should be the bear.
Anyway,
Wow,
so the synopsis for this episode. So this week we are talking about Prey, which came out in August. So this is the latest installment, I think number 5, John, am I correct? In the Predator franchise.
Now you're making me do math and
make it a
count
handful.
stuff.
I think it does. We'll say
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is 5.
So this is the first time that I think that the Predator is set in a period piece. So this is set in the 1800s in the Comanche Nation among a tribe that's subsisting in an area that is just now starting to see the influence of Europeans. but we'll get into that in a minute. But we have a young female brave who is trying to find her place within the tribe and starts to realize that she is gifted in ways in the ways of the hunter and wants to do that. Even though she has several gifts, she's very talented as a medicine woman. She's got a lot of skill set there as well, but her passion is for hunting and tracking. So as she's starting to develop into her adulthood, the rights that the Comanche Nation has for entering adulthood, she has the unfortunate situation to where a apex predator not of this planet lands and starts hunting on their same hunting grounds. And the rest of it is, what is it? Chaos ensues or shenanigans?
Yep, any of those.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. Madness, chaos.
Shenanigans.
I think that's really all we need to know to get into the conversation.
Bloodlust. Yeah, whatever.
It's hunter on hunter on hunter in this one is the way this one lands out. So I'm going to ask John, as our predator aficionado, to kick us off with his, when did you see this?
Uh-oh.
Did you see it when it first popped out?
Dave.
Were you looking forward to it? I'm sorry?
All part of my plan.
So
Wait, Dave, we have to like do that again because you completely cut out.
okay. Where did we?
Yeah, you're crunching and everything.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, wait.
You're going
Keep
full
speaking.
Mr.
Just speak for a
Roboto.
second. Just speak nonsense. So that
Domo arigato,
You're all right now.
Mr.
You're okay now. I think you have,
First off,
like-
that is not nonsense,
Don't
and I will defend that.
So are we stable again?
I think so. You could start from like, yes,
Yeah,
John
I'll
or whatever.
introduce
Yeah.
John. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we do, we're going to start off by letting each of our hosts give their overall impressions. And, so we're going to start with John, our predator aficionado, of course, and let him tell us kind of, when did you see this? What was your first impression? What did you think the second time around? Or fifth time around, for all I know.
It's more than two. So I saw this when it first came out. I could not wait. I know you had a couple of people here that will find out our first time viewers, which is awesome. But I've seen this 4 times now after today's viewing. I was cautiously optimistic after seeing trailers. Our good friend Darren was the first person to perk our ears up on our Slack that we hang out in. And I was like, yeah, I don't know about this because Predator, the last one was pretty bad. It has its defenders and lovers, but man, that movie was bad. I'm sorry for anyone that loves that movie. It's pretty terrible. But this one, I was like, okay, this is a cool premise. I like the idea. We'll see where it goes. So after I saw it for the first time, went over to my friend's house. Probably recounting. He's got a very nice projector set up. Nice. It was like going to the theater, but not going to the theater. So I had the nice little venue, beautiful scenery in this movie. And I was just like smiling from ear to ear, from beginning to end. This movie's not without its flaws. We've already talked about tomahawks on a rope. Even though I choose to believe that it's possible. even though it is not, but it is a cool concept and it's a fun concept. And I think that's the one thing with this movie. And I know besides the kind of ultra violence and kind of like cruelty that our main baddie has, is this movie has a lot of fun that we don't always get. Everything's got to be usually super serious, super tight, but this had some fun with some kind of general, just kind of it's serious just enough, but it's not afraid to have fun when it wants. And plus the Native American part is awesome. I love that. That's super, super cool for me. And I did watch the Comanche dub. I only recommend that for the most hardcore fans, because it's a little bit rough to watch. The synchronizing and the ADR is pretty rough. Yeah.
English and Comanche apparently have totally different syllabic kind of, breakup. So so the lip syncing is not going to work anymore. So no, cool. So, and I do agree that, there are some things there that were incredible and, some other things that we're going to talk about here in a minute. But first I'm going to let Eli tell us, was this your first watch? Have you seen this before? What did you think of this?
Yeah, this was my first watch. I like the first two Predator movies. I have, if we're looking at just Predator and not like AVP, I have not like any Predator movie since 2. I felt like they took a lot of like because there's always a little bit of cheese with Predator, you know, with some like the lines and like the characters and stuff, and like they kind of like, I felt like started taking themselves too seriously after that, so I haven't really liked them. But so I watched this one. I mean, there are some parts I like, but like there are other parts I don't, because I kind of wish they would have just stuck a Predator in this more primal setting, but they tried to make the Predator more primal, but then try to increase the primal of the other people, so it's not just what you think it is, and like felt clunky. The scenery of this movie is beautiful. Some of the characters I thought were really cool, and I like the idea of the hunt, and like she wants to be a predator, and like that was all cool. But for the love of God, why was she sliding all around the woods like John Wick and jumping off trees like it was Assassin's Creed? It seemed like every scene she was running and sliding around. Like I thought she was like doing a luge through a mountainside at one point, because she's just like sliding between trees. And
it
like
does have a classic kung fu theater kind of
a little bit. Like they kept like doing that, and I didn't like that. And then like at the end, the way she decides to do it, which like I thought there was this cool thing, like there's a callback in the end, getting how she's gonna hunt it, but then it like takes a left turn. It feels like a Home Alone movie to me, because she has all these like booby traps set up. I also I don't really like the look of the Predator, because like once again, this is an advanced alien species. We watch them ride in on a spaceship, but then they tried to, I don't know if they thought aesthetically or if they thought that might make people think it was more of a fair fight, but he still had all this technology. They just kind of made him look a little bit more primal with his like bone faceplate. He had bone in his armor, and they kind of changed the look of its face. It had smaller mouth pincers and like slender head and all this stuff. Which I didn't really care for. And then like my biggest issue, because I think this one does the same thing that my issue was with the last couple Predator movies, is it got to the point with these Predator movies where like if you watch like some of the originals, like no, like people might accidentally figure out how to use one of his techs, but like my issue is now like everybody's just figuring out how he does all of his stuff, and like that's how they always get the Predators. They figure out how to use his stuff, and like this is in a primal setting with a group of people who you are meant to believe like can barely use, like they're shown a gun for the first time. This character, a musket, she can barely use it, and there's like the scene where she's trying to figure it out, but then she figures out all the Predator's tricks. She figures out very quickly that it can see body heat. She figures out how to use its rapid knife or whatever that thing was. She pretty quick. She figures out it can see body heat. She can figure out about how its helmet works with its aiming system, and like. To me, that always just, and then it's just like, okay, well then what's the point? Like he's the worst predator in the world, because everybody can just figure out all his gadgets. Don't matter who you are, what time frame you live in, you can figure it out.
Well, I think in this movie, and we'll get into it here in a minute, I think in this movie, it's not that everybody's figuring it out. It's that she is a gifted tracker, and she's able to pick up on stuff. Even her brother says, you see things that I don't see. Like she has an intuitive capacity to understand predators because she is one.
Yeah, but once again, I'd argue like, well, then you look at the gun, which I would argue is more simple than anything the Predator does, and that's like a part towards like the middle of the movie where like it's taken her a couple times to figure out how to use this gun, to load it and get to fire and stuff like that. So like I digress. So like I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I thought it was just fine.
Cool. Jamie, what'd you think?
So, I'm not the biggest Predator fan, and I don't mean that in that I hate them. I mean that in that I have not seen many of them, because the Predator does not interest me unless he's with aliens, because I am a big Alien fan. And I mean the Alien series, not aliens from space. So I want to say I've seen the original. Have I? who knows? But I just assume in my X amount of years that I'm not saying in public, I've seen the original. I know I've seen parts of it. So what I'm saying, I assume I've seen the whole thing. I definitely saw whatever one had Adrian Brody in it. Don't ask me which one that is. And I've definitely seen, like I said, anything that has an alien in it. So I knew we had this on our list. I held off until this past week to watch it because, again, I wasn't jumping to watch it, but I knew it was going to be on our list. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it as it gets to the time that we need to watch it. I will say that I had, like, once, we know me, I say it every time, once the killing starts, like, the first kill scene, I think I gleefully laughed, like, literally audibly laughed out loud, like, and was... In a good way, not in like in a good way. Like, oh, I was like, this is fantastic. Yeah. And it keeps going. Like they keep those up. And I, because I was nervous that was going to be it. And then but it really, all the fight or, kill scenes are pretty badass. Can I say that's because of the Predator? Not really. I mean, it's due to the writers, directors, filmmakers. Like, I don't think I care that it's a Predator doing this at all. Yeah, her scenes are pretty badass. She's pretty badass. Obviously, she's written that way. But again, I don't think it would have mattered to me at all if this was a Predator or any other kind of movie that just had these elements in it. I did, however, have to sit through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's if you don't count all 20 buffalo independently, animal deaths. Some of which were way too visual for my tastes as who I am, and most people know who I am. Honestly, after like the third one, I was like, okay, we can't really keep up with this, can we? And no, they definitely do. Wolves are my favorite animal on the planet. That scene, I almost turned the movie off just because it just upset me. And not because, I'm not saying it's super realistic. Like, it looks fake, a lot of them. Like, you could tell these are some CGI animals. But all of them really upset me, and I had to sit through all of them until we get to the fun part of this movie. So I mean, overall, it's fun. After that, it's a fun movie. Again, does that have anything to do with it being a Predator movie? I don't know, but it's a fun movie. If there was another one, I think I'd need to know again, like, is it fun like this or is it a Predator movie? Because I have no interest in watching, like, they don't do it for me. There's nothing cool about them to me. I don't know.
The mythology doesn't hit for you at all?
Not at all. They look kind of silly. It's just like, but so I guess that's my take in a long-winded rambling away. There's too many animal deaths.
Too many animal deaths. Keep up the good kills.
Yeah. As long as they don't involve animals. Kill all the people you want. I don't care.
All right, Joe, jump in here. Was this your first watch? Have you seen this before? What do you think of this one?
Like John, I kind of hopped into this right when it released. Opening weekend, which is kind of rare for me with newer movies. I'm more of an older movie guy. Was really surprised at the approach. And we saw all of that with the trailers and all of that. But the themes that it was able to get at in touching back on almost all of the other Predator movies and almost reinforcing them while doing enough callback to pull like the Predator fans in. But goddamn, I didn't expect the script and the choreography and cinematography to be as tight as it was. Mm-hmm. I was really impressed. I actually liked it more when I watched it the 2 other times for this show than I did my first viewing.
Oh, cool. So you've watched it twice in the last week or so?
Yeah. Yeah. So I watched all of the other Predator movies and then this one again, and then watched the Comanche dub.
Oh, cool.
And I agree with John, like Comanche dub. I love it's such a nice thing to see. Mm-hmm. I want to see more of that approach to filmmaking and all of that. And it didn't work, but at the same time, I'm somebody that loves like Italian giallo movies, and it is just overdub, and so that's kind of my jam.
Yeah, you can at least respect that they went to the effort to, out of respect to the actors and the the nation they were portraying to go back and do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's coming from like Dan Trachtenberg. I did not actually see, was it 12 Cloverfield Lane?
Yeah, 10.
10.
It's
See?
two doors down from 12.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not great. You're not missing anything. So
Well, I didn't see his movie. I've heard some good things, and I just heard some not good things.
Right. Well, and
it's not terrible. It's just not great. Like some people, I think it's overhyped. I think people think it's like fantastic.
I hated Cloverfield, so I never watched it.
Oh, so then, yeah, the word. Yeah.
What podcast am I on?
well, and 10 Cloverfield and Cloverfield are such different movies, but that's for another episode. I will say that the thing I enjoyed about 10 Cloverfield is it played very much like a structured one stage play. Like it's all like set on one sound stage and great acting. But anyway, I digress. So for me, I'm in the same boat as Joe and John. As soon as this came out, I was all over it because I love the Predator franchise. It's probably not as much as the Xenomorph franchise, the Alien franchise, but it's pretty close. I love them both for totally different reasons. I was surprised when I saw the original Predator, not when I first saw it because I was a kid, but as an adult, when I went back and rewatched the original Predator, how smart that movie is. Because everybody think it's just a beefcake action movie, which it is, but there's something really intelligent going on in that movie as well. Anyway, I was surprised when I watched this how much of that I felt again, like how surprised I was by the nuance of the subtext that was going on. This movie is gorgeous. The setting is gorgeous. The cinematography is gorgeous. It reminds me of things that they used to make back in the 90s, these huge scope movies like Dances with Wolves or Braveheart. I mean, just the scale of everything. And I think this was shot, was it in Canada somewhere, or was it South Dakota, Wyoming area? But it looks like Wyoming. It looks like wide open Wyoming prairie land, and it's gorgeous. Which led me to my first frustration with this movie is I really wish I had had an option as an audience to see this on a big screen. I mean, I get that Hulu did what they did for their own sake, but I would have loved to seen this friggin' movie on a big screen because I think it would be incredible. Just the scale of everything, not just the wide shots, but like we were talking about with the choreography, the fight choreography would play fantastic on a big screen, I think. So anyway, kind of frustrated about that. I think this was the correct scale for a Predator movie. And before we started recording, some of us were talking about this. The problem I think a lot of the Predator movies had is they tried to scale out or open up the world for the Predator. The Predator works on a tight, kind of claustrophobic set piece with a small group of people that it is hunting. I mean, the stress is much easier to manage than having it be in an open world where everybody is a mercenary, special forces with the best tech. Even in the first one, when you start that way, they lose all of that very quickly. It all comes unraveled really quickly, which is what kind of shows the power of the Predator. The Predator is not the ultimate weapon. The Predator is just an extremely skilled hunter. So you've got to put him in a place where he can hunt. So anyway, that was kind of my thing. I enjoyed that about this one too, that it has a tight space. I love the period. I was surprised about how much I enjoyed seeing the Predator in a period piece. It's set in the 1800s. I do think it's one of the best Predator creature designs. I think as far as the suit, the costume, and the way it moves and the way that person moves in it, it never read as a man in a rubber suit. I mean, it very much felt like it was organic. He had full motion. He was capable of doing all the things that he was doing, which led to some really great fight choreography. I loved the first viewing of this. I just enjoyed it as a theme park ride, but there are some things that I'm going to want to talk about here in a minute, and we'll open it up to discussion now, that bugged me, that I had to kind of spend some time in. The reason I asked how many times you'd watch it, because this is my third watch in the last week to try and nail down some of the things, because I was frustrated and didn't know why, because I didn't know if I was putting too much on this movie or if it was falling short in some way. And you all are going to reveal to me which of those it ends up being. But before I do that, I wanted to throw to John and see if he had any opening questions or conversation pieces. What are the big things you want to talk about?
Oh, I think you've already nailed everything. I mean, it's all great. I think the package of this is what makes it. But I think the biggest sin, like you said, is not putting it on a big screen, which I have to say I was fortunate. I had a friend with a 100-inch screen that I could watch this on, and it worked pretty good.
That's true. You pretty much had that experience, didn't you?
Yeah, and I can tell you are 100% correct, because that's what all of my friends and I all agreed on after we were done watching it. We're like, this was awesome, and I'm glad we got to see it on this bigger screen. But I wanted to see this at the movie theater because it was that good. And if they would have got some more money, I think they could have cleaned up some of the CGI. That's probably my biggest kind of dig on this movie is the CGI, specifically the bear is like, it's not bad. It just kind of looks off at moments. It's like, it's the wet bear. It just doesn't quite look quite right. But other than that, I mean, I guess I don't see too many faults. So I'm really curious to see what ones you have, Dave. Because it sounds like you got some very specific ones.
I've got some qualms. But they're
besides the tomahawk.
I mean, wonder if
we all can agree.
Wait, before we pick on before we even go into it, I forgot the best part of the movie that no one's mentioned is the dog. We'll come back to the dog, but that's all.
Yeah, dog is fantastic.
Because I went on an internet hole about just the dog because that's what I did with the rest of my night. Yes, I went down the whole link.
And a name very close to a dog who's important to you as well.
Yeah, yes.
So Sari and Sari, I'm assuming, are big friends.
They would be.
I thought it was going to be sushi.
Dave, I kind of wonder if you and I maybe have the same issue with this movie or one of them.
We'll find out.
I wonder.
So, Eli, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I really had two kind of major issues with the movie, but we'll start with the one. So I was reading an article and they were talking about, I guess this is kind of the future. They're kind of looking currently at this franchise is having him face off against some of like the greatest warriors throughout history. There's talk of him like doing one with a samurai or whatever. And so they went with indigenous person first, which like before I watched it, like on paper, I was thinking, okay, well, that could be cool. And like when I went to this, I thought they were going to show actual, more of like their fighting style and tools they used and stuff like that. And like probably one of the my favorite scenes that I actually liked in this movie was when the brother faces off against the predator and he keeps reusing the same arrow to pull and shoot, because I know in some readings I've done that in some indigenous tribes, that was a sign of a great warrior is how many times you could use your arrow. So like, I thought that was neat. And some of the things like he did, they showed like with the hunt stuff like that. But with her, they didn't really do that because she tied a rope to her tomahawk and was swinging it around and stuff. And then like all the sliding around and like high jumps and stuff. So like, I feel for like, now granted, this movie I thought was respectful and did their thing. But like, I thought that if you're going to go into this, then go into it. Don't show me parts of it, but then in order for your plot armor, make your one character, well, she's different. She can do all this other stuff. But like, because my favorite fight in the scene was that fight where to me that was more realistic than anything she did.
Right. Yeah.
But it is also a sci-fi movie.
Exactly.
Well, right.
No, because I got told that too when I asked something, which we could talk about. Similar to your gripe with it. I mean, I asked the question on how she instantaneously figured out his mask and the lasers because I couldn't even figure out how it was targeting. And I got told it's a sci-fi movie. So,
no, I mean, I've seen it 4
after
times.
Once or twice, she sees it happen. Like once she sees it happen.
It also, I see Joe just chomping at the bit. I'm going to give this one to Joe. Go for it.
So they hone in via her eye acting on her power of observation. And that's like the greatest skill of a hunter, right?
Yeah.
The idea and it's been the through line of almost every Predator film that the way that you beat the Predator is observing your enemy, not attacking your enemy. It is 2 acts of observation. And that leads until the final fight. You could have like a mid-heavy or I guess a sub-boss like halfway in between, but it is always about understanding who the enemy is and seeing all of that happen. And in almost every aspect of the attacks, whether she's subdued or actually in a fight with the predator itself, or even with a subsequent fight with, let's say, like the lion, it's acts of observation that they're showing the viewer that she's then applying to her enemy. It's the theme of it's a flip-flop of who's the actual predator here, and really the theme of this series.
Yes. But I'm just saying, I couldn't figure out how those things were like it went off at the exact moment, even though he was in that area for a long period of time. Like I'm meaning literally, like, and again, that goes just back to my point where I said it's a sci-fi movie. And that's why I said that to Eli, because her fighting techniques or like seeing her be different is because it is a sci-fi movie and she's your heroine and she's your badass hunter. So some of those things are just not going to make sense because it's a movie. And I'm willing to go with that because we also have a predator dealing with indigenous people.
Right.
So it is what it is.
So I'll go down the first rabbit hole that I went down this week. And Eli, it's to your point. So the first thing I noticed in this movie when I first saw it, and I thought it was really cool, is that the Comanche used this reverse grip on the bow and arrow that I'd never seen anybody use before. And I'm like, oh, well, they've really studied how Comanches shoot. And they're being really true historically. And then I went on YouTube and realized that no, there's like 12 different videos of actual Comanche bowyers and archers saying, I don't know where they got that. That's not how we shoot. Because the one thing I knew, the one little piece of historical information that I knew about the Comanche is that they were known for their archery skills. Like they were apex warriors. And I think the legendary saying was that it was only the Comanche who could get off 3 accurate arrow shots in 1.5 seconds. Like they could on the horse send 3 kill shots in 1.5 seconds. And they said, you can't do that with this weird overhand hold. Like they use a modified 2-finger pinch grip. And they don't pull the cheek like the Europeans do. So anyway, I won't go down. That's the first rabbit hole I went down that then first made me ask the question that's going to lead to my big gripe. But it made me ask, why would they do that? Other than, does it look cool? Does it set things apart? Does it make me assume that they did something that they didn't do? Or is it contrived? Because it's not just that it was a non sequitur or one guy did it. It was everybody. It was obviously part of the training because everyone used this exact same reversed knuckles up grip on the bow. And you can see it even in the picture behind John there. That's the way she's holding the bow. And I'm like, why then? and I am not a member of the Comanche Nation. I'm just saying I went and did a little bit of research just because I was interested in where this grip came from and what are the benefits of it. And then realized that there are others out there that are members of this nation and other indigenous nations that were like, I don't know where that came from. So I don't know if I would love to hear the story, but it did lead me down a kind of a darker trail about this movie because, and to your point earlier, Joe and John, I was really excited that somebody was doing something to kind of uplift an indigenous nation and their culture and their traditions and those kind of things. And, you know, Eli and I got into this during the Antlers episode, which, I mean, that is a movie that totally, literally whitewashed a indigenous cultural folklore. And it was frustrating. I didn't think they had done that here, but now I have questions that I'm going to want to get into later. But that whole reverse grip thing kind of led me off kilter and kind of unbalanced me on this. And again, I totally get it. And to Jamie's point, it is a sci-fi creature feature. Maybe I'm expecting too much of it, but it does.
Just because you noticed that makes me feel like I should just leave this room right now and not even, because I wouldn't even, these things, like there's not even something I would even know.
Well, and I'm a nerd about that kind of stuff.
You are. Everybody notices the things of their own. I was trying to identify the breed of the dog. We all got our,
exactly. Which is a Carolina dog.
Yes.
which is also that is also very period correct apparently.
Yes, I made sure. I went looking. That's why. That was like what started my little hole of that. But yes. So sorry. Back to the
Can I make a guess?
Sure.
And just based off
I
of
think it is a guess because I don't think any of us worked on the movie.
right?
Unless Joe.
Whoa, this is the big reveal. Dan Trachtenberg said one of his biggest influences on the action scenes was Jackie Chan. And what Jackie Chan ended up doing, especially in his older kung fu, was taking classic, like Hong Kong kung fu and giving it a more stylized version just for the movie. I would assume that part of that was more stylized than anything else in trying to mimic what works in combat versus what works in cinema.
So like stage fencing in a way.
Correct.
Okay. That's totally fair. And it does look great. I mean, obviously I noticed it, so it stood out to me. It did that part very well, but it did lead me down a road. But Joe, what about you? What were the things about this that you are most excited to talk about or that stood out to you?
Well, the pacing that led up to my favorite scene, which is the French fur hunters. And I think that second act moment kind of really captures the spirit of the movie in not only where you get to see the predator really at work, but leads up to my favorite fight, which actually does involve Naru, not the brother. And I will say, when the brother is circling around and just whooping his ass, is fucking fantastic. But they have a single cut action scene with Naru that is just absolutely fantastic when it cuts from the ash-ridden forest back into the colorful village, or not even village, but like campground. And she takes out, I want to say 4 separate trappers. There's 2 quick cuts and then it is 1 all solid cut. Just the choreography of that is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she wrecks them.
Yeah, and it goes almost against what you're expected to believe of her.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and that was just like the biggest thing. I was like, holy shit. And it wasn't until that second viewing that I sat there. I ended up rewatching that scene 3 or 4 times just to kind of catch the camera movement of all of that. And it was really good. Although I will say, because I can't sit here and just love everything completely, like fully, I do wish in a lot of these modern action movies, when they're going to do that, CGI blood looks like garbage, and go back to old like squibs and pack people's legs and arms full of blood-filled condoms. Like, I don't give a shit. It looks a hell of a lot better on camera.
Let's see the splash.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. So I am curious, and obviously, rather than keep dancing around it, let me ask my big question. And because it may not resonate with any of you, you may tell me that I'm just trying too hard to make this movie do something that was never meant to do. But I do genuinely believe that there are things in here. The film is trying to say some things that are much deeper than a creature feature. I think we can all agree to that. So my question, which will lead to my argument, but my genuine question is Naru a noble character? What do you all think? Because at first I thought she was.
Yeah, I was about to ask the exact same question.
What is her hero's quest? What is her motivation? What is her arc through this story? What does she care about? What part does she play in this tribe, her community? Is she a character that you genuinely believe belongs to this tribe and genuinely cares about anybody else within this group of people? who depend on each other for survival.
I mean, yes, but she wants a different role in that. Or maybe it's selfishly.
See, yeah, I would say that was another little issue I have with this is her goals. Were not, and that's fine. Like, not everyone has to be a hero. But my problem is, like, she did not really have a hero quality. But they tried to put the narrative that she was doing this for a hero quality. And then, like, they try to spin this too that she's real close to her brother. Her brother dies, and he tells her, you have to face it and tell him not to come. But then if you think about it, the way she kind of did the kind of the way they set up the fight is really not that you face it head on, you tell it you're not leaving here or whatever. And then, like, at the end, she makes it back to his head. She gets whatever. And, like, and they try to play that moment like this was all because she's the hero. But, like, she just wanted to pass her hunting test, basically. And, like, who gives a shit about her brother at that point? Because there's nothing with that. And he was supposed to be, like, the greatest warrior and hunter of the tribe. And, like, fuck him. He's dead. I made it. I got the predator's head.
Yeah, and it starts even earlier than that. And this is one of the reasons I watched it several times this week, is there's that first scene, sort of the establishing scene of their relationship, is when she's trying to draw down on a hawk in flight. And her brother, who knows that she wants desperately to have this right, she wants to have the rights to prove herself as a tracker and a hunter. And the story he's sharing is about him and their father, who apparently is dead because he's not in the movie at all. The brother is sharing his story of the father teaching him during his ride, them going out and spending time in the rain and the mud. And her literal response is to start snoring, which seems like the most contrived 2022 thing for a character to do in this very period piece, where it's not that he's mansplaining hunting to her. He's sharing his experience of his ride with his sibling who is wanting to have that. And her response is that I don't really give a shit.
I think, though, because, we know me, I'm very bad at reading into movies, but, like, I think it's also because she thinks she's not going to get that right. You know what I'm trying? And it could be, it is also, like, a little bit of a spoil, but like, I don't know, the mom's pushing medicine with her, and you see the scene where obviously all the women are going out to get whatever they're going to get, and she goes the other way and whatever. But I think
scene is huge, where she's going in the opposite direction.
But I just read it as the brother's telling her something that she's probably heard 1,000 times before. If people have siblings, like a little bit of a bragging thing, not like this monumental moment where she's heard it for the first time, maybe, and then B, as something that she doesn't think she's gonna get, because in a way it's kind of like, and I told you, like, not I told you so, but, like, not these mansplaining, but, like, I don't know. He's telling her how it should be. And I think the way it should be probably doesn't involve her.
I don't know, because there's multiple times throughout the film. He's like, you're going to get it.
It's also animal death number one.
We just have to do this, this, and this. And it's like,
does he say she's going to get it, though? Like,
he's like,
does say
you
that
have
she's
to. He tells her multiple times, like, you have to take it.
Okay.
He even follows her plan at the tree. Like, so, like, it's kind of weird because, like, it's like this weird relationship where, like, he's like her only person who's going to help her. And then she's like, fuck you the whole movie till, like, that middle part. And, like, it's just, it felt weird. Like, it's weird because, like obviously I think what they were trying to do, like, to make her this, like, this character who's going to defy the odds and break through and whatever. But, like, likable. She wasn't written very likable or even like she was on a hero's quest.
I think they think that's brotherly, sisterly banter. You know what I'm trying to say?
It felt very sibling,
rivalry, or even just camaraderie, or the way you. I also feel like, and now that I'm talking about it, I feel like the same scene was in, like, Hunger Games. Not that that's
well, and I'll double down then. There's a very similar scene when, after he has brought her back after she's knocked unconscious, gone back out and killed the lion that she wounded, game, recognized game. But then he becomes the next war chief. And, everybody is celebrating because he is, by all accounts, the best warrior of the tribe. It makes sense that he would be the heir apparent to the war chief position. And then the camera pans to her and she is just, like, death eyeing him and then just walks away. wants to have nothing to do with the fact that he became war chief. I was never given any impression up to that point that she wanted to be war chief. She just wanted to be a hunter. She wanted to be seen as skilled, because obviously she is, and we see that through the movie, but she has no interest in celebrating this with her brother or with her tribe.
I think I read that as like an opportunity lost.
I'm sorry.
What? Sorry.
I think I read that as kind of, she saw that as in like her big opportunity lost.
Agreed, because she thought she was gonna get that lion. She was all prepared, and like I think that's a disappointment. Yeah, a bad read. I totally see now Dave's read of it. I think it goes both ways. I think she's disappointed, and sometimes like no matter how you should, like I'm just speaking on personal, well, literally. I have sibling. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's different for different people, but like there's probably something to be said about. Yes, she didn't want to be like chief or whatever, but like that was her kill. That was her hunt, and he got it, and now he's celebrated for it. And not saying that like he took it from her, but there was probably like envy and, you know, just feeling.
Yeah, but like
jealousy.
It's not like she tripped on a rock and just missed the shot.
No, I know.
I
mean, this is
that thing. Like I felt. Oh no, like I see what you're saying, but like that whole scene with me was weird because like it literally killed somebody from their tribe. Like they're not going to let it live. She was unconscious. Who knows when she's going to wake up? Like he had to do it, and like for her, like he's the only one. Like they kind of make it out like he's the only one who's like, you're going to get this chance. I'm going to help you get this chance. We're going to do this, and for her to like.
No, but
for the whole situation,
it could be disappointment in yourself. You ever have that moment and you just like just don't want to sit there and watch someone else celebrate, like while you're just feeling like absolute fucking shit.
Let's look at this, right? Say you and your sister are going up for, I don't know,
better not be killing anything.
No. Say you guys are competing for a hot dog eating contest. No, you don't eat meat. Say you guys are going on a. You're trying to win the people who go to Disneyland the most times in a year, right?
Okay.
And if you guys, this will be great recognition for your family and like, it'll look good. And you guys are supporting each other. Then you fall and break your leg and you're like, I'm going to be out for 6 months. Or your sister's like, well, I'm going to do this for us. And she keeps doing it. Then are you going to be like, you may be disappointed yourself, but then when they have the celebration for it, then you'll be like, well, fuck you and walk away.
But he didn't do it for us, and he doesn't even tell her that she wounded it until the end of the movie or whenever it is.
Well, because as soon as she tried to talk to her to be like, hey, well, listen, there's going to be the next one. And she was like, nope, fuck you. Nope. You can go die. Fuck you. So she didn't even give him the opportunity. Like she doesn't want to listen to him when she's like he's the only one that's like rooting for her. And like he's done it before, even before this, like no one else wants to teach her that.
I personally felt like he was written a little weird too. I felt like he was only rooting for her at times. Like then there were times where I felt like he was treating her like the little sister, or like you can't do this, or you're not prepared. And we've seen that in other movies. Like you're not ready, and then the person has to pull through and show you that they are. You know, but it's like I felt like he was written weird too. I think they were both written weird because there were moments where I thought he was supporting her, and then there were moments where I thought he was just like, no, you can't do this.
And that leads me to the point I made at the top is my realization with the bow grip. I realized that this, at least in my opinion, this movie is not in any way concerning itself with being historical accurate to a people nation or a culture or a tradition. It has a story and agenda that it's going to tell, and it's got characters that it's going to develop that are outside of that. That's where I feel like maybe I'm adding too much expectation because I, as an audience of one, I'm not Jamie. I am the one who's going to notice the bow grips and dissect all that stuff because that's the stuff I'm interested in. When you give me a period piece about a culture that I have an interest in, I want to feel like I'm being educated, which is probably unfair for the movie, but in some cases, and this was egregious in the past, and I think this is just, in my opinion, a new version of this, where a culture is appropriated to be a set piece to tell a story that has nothing to do with that culture or their traditions or the things that they're trying to do. And I'll give another example, because when she, as a very gifted medicine woman and tracker, joins the hunting party to go after lion, and first her mother tells her this, but please understand that the hunting of the lion is not for glory. you hunt the predators that have moved onto your hunting ground so you can survive as a tribe. If you have mountain lions and bears moving in on your hunting grounds, killing your deer, then you have to weed them out or you have to move your entire campsite. The way you do that is going out and trying to kill it. And the mom says that the right is not to kill. The right is to survive. That's the whole purpose of the right. She never seems to get that, or it doesn't seem to be part of her predator mentality through the movie. But when the hunting party goes out and they find the young brave who's been mauled by the bear, and she, fixes him up and is asked by the brother to go with the group to take him back because she's the only one apparently within this hunting party that has that ability to kind of tend to somebody who's mortally wounded. And she goes about 100 feet with him and says, "Nope, I'm going to go find the lion," and just walks away. That seemed extremely cold and self-serving.
Doesn't she walk away when she sees the predator tracks and say, "I have to warn my brother"? That's not the same scene. Like, she literally sees the predator and says, "This is not a bear. This is bigger than a bear. I have to warn my brother," or whatever. And then she goes. I'm not discounting what you said, but I thought that was her motivation for leaving them.
Yeah, but she didn't want to go in the first place. So I think you could argue, she could have found a squirrel track and be like, that doesn't look like a mountain lion. I better go tell him.
Listen, this bitch is obsessed with killing. She's
She's very much like the predator.
Yeah. And Dave, to your point, like,
exactly, John.
Maybe they're not, like, it's not their job to educate, but I feel like if you're going to put some of the effort in they did, like, why not? And I'm not saying it has to be 100% historically accurate, but like, why not? Because, like, honestly, like, that is another, like, that could be impressive in itself if you're like at least majority of the way accurate through some stuff. Because, like I said, like, the one thing I was like, with like the fighting styles, like, I thought that could be really cool because, like, their warriors were known for like doing some shit. And like that, like, I thought at one point that was going to be an interesting take, like, oh, because the predator's not going to know how to deal with that. Especially like those like war clubs they would use and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that could be interesting. And like they almost separated her in every aspect, besides the fact that her, like, she lived in the tribe, her brother's in there, but she did like really like nothing else that was like that followed suit with them. Because, like, she carried a bow, but she like barely ever used it. She was using her tomahawk on a rope, which I was like, who has that idea? Because she was too lazy to walk over the tree to grab it. Like,
well, and to her motivation, the conversation in their teepee that she has with her mom, when her mom is kind of giving her the advice on, how did you learn about medicine? Oh, well, you taught me. And she literally says, "You are gifted at so many things. Why do you want to be a hunter?" And her motivation, as she puts it, is the only reason she wants to be a hunter is because it's the one thing that you tell me I can't be. That's the depth of your reasoning for all of this.
There's a lot of people like that, though. Tell me I can't and I will. Like,
Kobe Bryant.
Girl power. I mean,
yeah, I just think
that's just girl power.
I think that's the bigger thing is I think that's the story it's wanting to tell, which has nothing to do with the period piece or this group of people.
No, it could be told in any period, in any, like you said, back.
It feels contrived. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I know, and I think it's fair, but I think kind of like to Jamie's earlier point, it's a sci-fi movie. I think for that historical accurate approach, trust me, I'd be all about it. I would love to see that movie. That is literally not what this movie is.
No, I think you're taking the Predator out and getting that movie. But yeah, how much of that are you going to see when we have to get to the Predator and we have to get to
exactly.
I think that's so it's a hybrid, but your movie would be cool and exist if you take the Predator out.
Well, I'm not saying like they have to give a history lesson, but like I think like even if I'm not explaining, if you do like these nods, like I just think that because like here's the thing too, right? Like, okay, say the next one is he fights a samurai. Once again, like this famed warrior stuff like that, and then all of a sudden they're gonna pull out a trident. I'm gonna be like, okay, like this one's like, I want a trident because you won't let me be samurai or something. I'm like, well, that's weird. Like, what are we doing here? Like, that's what just kind of like, it felt weird. Like, it just felt like it was weird because like the tribe, the thing, like regardless of like they're not, like it all felt like it fit together. She didn't feel like she fit in this very well because she was so like different than everything. And like, I understand like you want to make her different, like she's more skilled, all that stuff, but like she was just like left field different. Like it almost felt like she belonged in a Mortal Kombat game, not Predator.
Yeah, but it's Predator. Like, I don't know.
It
like,
also feels like you're reinforcing it.
It's not reality at all. Like, it's so she could be as unrealistic without being complete. Like, she didn't have futuristic tech and like come from a different planet. But I'm saying she could be as unrealistic. And I guess I'm just going to keep using the lame excuse that it's a sci-fi movie. Like, she could be as unrealistic, but still plopped in this time period as they really want her to be. Because as long as, like, I mean, for all I know, they could have started introducing spiritual aspects and supernatural. I mean, they didn't, but she's supposed to be another kind of apex predator.
Right.
Exactly. And they mirror that. And one of the complaints earlier was like her movement in the trees, which you see the Predator do as well. They start to mirror both characters against each other until the mirrors essentially come together against each other, like, and reflect. I think you have to, yes, they are using historical settings and historical cultures. I don't think they're doing it in a disrespectful manner. And they're giving a character that I would rather see a multi-dimensional character that is, yes, she is selfish. Does she care about the tribe? No, she actually cares more about her self-agenda with how she approaches all of her duties that the tribe expects of her. But that's not the goal of the movie. The goal of the movie is to really shine a spotlight on what it takes in order to survive.
I mean, and to give him a worthy opponent, right? I mean, doesn't he hunt like apex? Like, I mean, that's, you know, he's not gonna, as seen earlier, in Animal Death number 4 or 5 or somewhere over there, like he doesn't he kills the snake, right? After it kills the rat or mouse or whatever, right after. And like, and I'm not trying to like, and he does it. There's something earlier too, where something kills the bunny, kind of. I don't know.
Well, the wolf was trying to go after the rabbit.
Yes. The wolf was going after the rabbit, so he goes after the wolf. So like still, all this animal, I really did not like it. But like, you know,
I thought of it the entire time, Jamie.
She has to be like worthy of facing the predator. All these other people couldn't, so she has to be a little unrealistic because all these other people got like 2 seconds or one, not even a hit on him, and like, you know, she's got to be. He's too big of a thing to just
the brother
have a
wrecked
normal
him pretty
person
good.
fight.
Yeah.
What?
The brother wrecked him pretty good.
Well, that too. But the brother's supposed to also be like a very renowned hunter and best of the, you know, so I'm totally fine with that. I thought he did great. I thought that scene was great, actually, with the both of them. But like, you know, she has to be a little different. She has to be.
And I get that. And I totally agree that she, and that's why I asked the question to start all this off, is she is set up as our hero. But is she a hero? I guess that's my question.
Do any of the Predator movies have heroes, though? Like, is Arnold Schwarzenegger actually a hero? What they're doing in Guatemala isn't actually heroes' work if you look at it historically. Danny Glover, Predator 2, is he a hero? The way he's actually conducting police work, not really. Adrian Brody, on how he treats the rest of the people around him, is he a hero? No. What he is somebody that can observe and adapt and attack.
Well, maybe, I guess, Joe, that maybe you got me, because I think my core issue with these movies is like, and like I get your point, like mirrored, and like I get that. With the first two, I really like, because they were just men and like they had to get smart and do all this stuff. And then as they've gone on, you have people in these movies who are as smart as a predator, or like the alien species, or like her, like she was able to mimic his movement and jump through the trees. No one else could do that. And I'm fine with it if she was like almost like acrobatic to a point, but like when it gets to the point where she's like jumping way far and like sliding all around and like almost to the point where she's by the predator. Well, then to me, like the reason I like the first two is like they were just people and like they had to overcome this great odd, and we're like now they're trying to like, and my point with last couple was like they're trying to like who they consider the other predator, his opposite, I guess, is almost the same as him. And like then okay, when you do that, then okay, cool. like, because that just kind of takes away her. To me, it takes away like actually when she overcomes and beats it, because okay, well, you can jump out of 100-foot trees and land on his shoulder and spin and twist them with your rope tomahawk and like
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, like so it just like that just takes it away and like
no, it makes it so much better.
I mean, let's be honest, realistically, and again, I have not seen all of them, but just based on what I have seen, nobody should beat this thing really, hand on hand, like hand combat or whatever. Like no one should beat it. So really, it's either the Predator's going to win every single time, or we're going to have this unrealistic character that could do everything because she like I don't know something has.
Danny Glover couldn't even chase somebody on a rooftop. He was still too old for that shit.
And you know what? It still beats Predator. And like, I love it. I love it when he does it.
That should be the next Predator sequel, is actually the person who faces off loses.
Predator wins.
Yeah. And actually,
that was AVP, wasn't it?
I don't even know. I don't even remember the first
what happens
one.
Well, I think the alien wins AVP.
Damn straight it does.
Well, technically it's not the alien, it's the alien Predator.
Doesn't matter. Alien wins. This is like Freddy versus Jason. And fucking Jason wins. Sorry.
But speaking of Predator 2, did anybody else see the wonderful connection? Like, I mean, I was so happy and so smiley when I was like, you know what, finally that awesome scene at the end of Predator 2 finally paid off a little bit.
What is it? Because I've never seen it. So someone tell me.
Give it to him, Joe.
So the pistol that she ends up getting and ends up using is the pistol that the Predator, I almost said alien because of Jamie's whole alien spiel, gift over at the end of Predator 2.
Oh, cute.
And I had a question about that.
No, I'm being serious.
It was awesome. No, I loved it. And in the writing, like when this thing is written, what comes first? Are you trying to craft something from the era of the pistol or the next Predator? And then if you're, all right, let's say we're going to set it in the late 1700s. Who would be a true Predator then? I really liked their approach in trying to craft all of that together. And it's not only like I think they reference pretty heavily all other, we'll say 3 Predator movies.
Oh yeah.
Because the Predator, I'm not even counting. That movie fucking sucks balls.
If it bleeds, we can kill it was my
that's
favorite.
the only line I knew, guys. At least I knew that.
It was awesome. It still hits the same from number 1 on.
In this one, the Predator coming up out of the mud like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was thinking the Descent
bear.
because
The bear scene.
Oh,
I haven't seen The Descent.
That's my second favorite scene, John, is that bear scene. Because I was worried. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of think it's dumb that he fought the other animals. But when they got the bear scene, I was worried, like, okay, well, he's just going to annihilate this bear. And the fact that they let the bear put up a fight, like, I really enjoyed that scene. To your point, the bear did look great, but, like, I liked it because, you're not going to fuck no grizzly.
Animal Death number 8.
Yeah, when the bear charged the dog was my
right here.
biggest anxiety moment. When they're up on the knoll and she breaks her bowstring and the bear charges the dog. I was not happy.
Because the dog is the greatest thing in this movie. Sorry to everybody else in it, but the dog is the greatest thing in this movie.
It is a fantastic dog.
I watched this with Laura, who does not watch these movies. She's never watched a Predator movie in her life. And granted, she is only halfway through this. And she won't listen to this until we're all the way through. I don't do spoilers, but we're 30 minutes in. I was like, she's like freaking out, asking question. I was like, here, I'll just tell you, the dog will be okay. We're good.
That's all she needed.
I mean, it is an important. There is a website dedicated to it for a reason. So,
A lot of people care about that shit, and that's a spoiler I'm okay to give. I gave a few friends the same thing with Crawl.
Oh yeah, that's one too. No, some people, you need to know that. I mean, exactly. I understand. Listen, I've had a whole site dedicated. I know why they do it and things. I know, but also the dog here plays such a pivotal part in the movie that would have been like it. There's a lot of horror movies that just do it to pull at your heartstrings, and the dog doesn't even serve a purpose. He's literally there to die, or the animal, the cat, the rabbit, whatever.
It's like moms in Disney movies.
But this dog like serves a purpose. And to that point, and I'm sure anybody who read about the dog, which Joe seems to have also, this dog was untrained. This dog was adopted. And the dog wasn't even supposed to be in as many scenes as it was, but it was just so delightful. And they loved it so much. They kept giving her more scenes.
Coco.
And I just kept thinking of trying to do a movie with my dog because she is like mildly trained, but very stubborn. Her breed is very stubborn. She's a mix, but like her main breed is very stubborn. And I'm just thinking of how much they had to work around probably this dog. They said at times it would just run away. It would just run around. And then anyway. So like it's just
that elk scene. It looked like it was so trained, but we all know that elk was CGI.
Yeah, they did to the dog. They're just like run.
Well, and the modern trend of making animals not perfect CGI, I actually kind of appreciate because it reminds me that there is no actual violence happening on the screen.
Because I don't know that I would have made it if some of these didn't look as rough as they did. And that was when you were talking about the bear looking bad, I was going to say it then that like, as someone like me, and I'm not saying I'm alone in this or any of you, I'm not saying you guys love animal death. I'm just saying like, I came close to wanting to just turn this off because it's because it's at some point it seemed to no longer serve a purpose. Like I know what purpose it was serving, but at the same time, I'm like, we've established this at this point. You don't have to keep doing this to me. Like every time an animal was on screen, it was basically impaled or chomped or cut or like, I don't know. Like
the buffalo scene was extremely painful. The
wolf scene was the worst for me.
I couldn't do it. I understood the predator.
But
it's painful, but that wolf got in a lick where the other animals didn't get in licks.
Well, and the buffalo scene was just, you eventually learned just meant to dehumanize the French.
Yes, yes. He didn't do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that
which made more sense when you saw how many of them there were, because he doesn't. That's not like, but.
So good that them fighting the fur trappers are so fantastic.
It's the best fucking scene in the movie.
I love the bomb where the little bomb's going off. They're all like, "Oh, what is that? What is that?"
And we all know what's about to go down. Yeah,
that and the net.
The net's always been a favorite of mine. It's been used in a couple of movies, but I always loved the disintegration net. So, my favorite fight moment, and it's when I first saw it, I actually rewound it because I totally missed it. You know, obviously this predator has the really cool telescoping shield, and when she gets him to cut off his own arm, fantastic moment. But it's so fast that you don't understand what happened.
I had to rewind it like 3 or 4 times the first. I'm like, what happened? How did
How did she do that? Yeah, it's
difficult. It's like difficult to follow. I mean, like because
1 minute he's there fighting her, and the next minute he's looking at his arm stub.
a lot of removal of limbs in this movie.
It's fantastic.
Wait a few.
Yeah, the phosphorescent blood on her war paint, fantastic. That's a great image at the end.
At the end, though, wasn't his head a lot smaller than a predator head should be? Like, I don't know. She came. I'm waiting for Eli to back me up on this.
Oh yeah, they made it skinny and
walking with it. I wanted like this like giant head, and then when she threw it, it just looked like a man. It looked like she went to Spirit Halloween. Maybe a level up from Spirit. Okay, maybe she went to like a professional costume shop, but it looks like she like a costume shop head and not like what you would think this predator head would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the size of the head; it's about the threatened space.
I
get it, but I thought they were much larger.
That they gave it those baby pincers because, like, and I guess here's the thing too. I don't understand. It's 100 years between this and Predator 1. Like 100 years.
I mean, this is late 1700s, so almost 200.
Okay, 200 years, and you're telling me in 200 years they evolved to have giant pincers, or did they just make his pincers smaller so we could do that scene where she ripped one of his pincers off and sticks it in his eye?
All right, Eli. Here's a little predator knowledge for you. It is the different species of predator, and this predator doesn't come from the same planet that the jungle predator comes from. So
I didn't know there were different species.
Yes.
You got predator school?
I told you he brought the knowledge.
It's canon for these things that multiple species. You can read the comic books, but it also shows up in the movie you hate, Adrian Brody. The mega or the big bad predator is actually, I think it's a similar species, if not the same species, where this predator is taller. It's on a desert planet. Its dreads are a lot thinner. Huh. And they actually do. They had some interesting interviews from like the character creator who was fed all this information and basically told the environment and all the research that he made them go through to design this predator for this movie. So it was really cool in terms of it's all logical design choices. Because,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's different planet, different predator species. So it's like caveman versus man. We look sort of the same, just different.
Well, and that was the one piece of trivia that I saw too on this one, the feral predator, that organic helmet, because obviously most of them have a really well designed, that's down to the tribe, like you're talking about, that he comes from. But it's also a callback to Predators, the same movie you just referenced, because apparently it's a river ghost skull is what that thing is that he's got on his head.
That's so cool.
I don't know if I finished that movie, to be honest with you.
Well, and was I the only one that picked up or assumed, maybe it was totally bad assumption on my part, that this predator warrior was in the same situation that Naru was in? Like this was its rite of passage hunt.
Yeah. That was the extra part of the character I forgot to mention, Dave.
How should I know that, or did I miss that?
It's a lot of show don't tell sort of thing is what they were going for. Is basically how like it was over exuberant with how it's hunting and fighting. It got frustrated with hiding instead of, it's just like, I'm going to show you who I'm going to come right at you.
You got nothing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm going to take you down, just like basically, lack of a better phrase, balls to the wall. I'm just going to go down. And to be fair, he pretty much does, or she. And that's the other thing. I don't know if that was a male or female. I don't know if there is a difference.
Do they have genders?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
That part I don't know. I assume so, but who knows? They could be just, I don't know, cranking out predator babies in test tubes.
I assumed this was like it's rite of passage too, because the fact that it took the time to kill a bunch of stuff that like
didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Well,
just to piss off Jamie.
It's also the first time predators had come to Earth. This is meant to be first visit any predator ever.
It's trying to find the most dangerous game, I guess.
Exactly.
But when it wrecks that bear, that's an intense scene, and it's gorgeous.
$1 Million Man versus Sasquatch type scene.
Exactly. Just because I will say the way it was designed when she's in the Beaver Lodge, if you've been around Beaver Lodges at all, those things are built like friggin' Abrams tanks, and that bear just wrecks it. And you really get a sense of its size and power and weight, just the soundscape and everything. That's the moment she dies if the predator doesn't show up, because the bear is coming through.
If you want to go down a rabbit hole, look up grizzly bear attacks and see all the places that grizzly bears have gotten into. You want to talk about haunting.
There's no stopping them.
Nothing. And like sometimes when they're in the middle of attack, how much it takes to stop them, it's insanity. They are the true predator.
Dave's got bears around his house all the time.
Not grizzly bears.
I got black bears. Not that I'm going to go out and have a wrestle with a black bear.
I just want to see you send us a video of you in a leotard.
Smacking a black bear. Come on, man.
A mullet wig and like those sunglasses that wrestlers wear, and you out there just spread out, walking up this black bear, moving your arms, going for the Predator title.
And then it will just be a Tekken match.
Yeah. You would just hear, okay, I'm going in, and then like 10 seconds later, I regret this immediately.
Dave, we could live stream it. I'll come down dressed as referee.
It's good to know who your friends are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, here's the thing, though, Dave.
Don't
Right?
do this, Dave.
No,
Don't
here's
do
the
it.
thing, Dave. Though it's a double cross. I'm not really the referee. I'm your tag team partner.
Oh yeah, because
So-
you're both. Don't worry, two of you will take
Yeah.
out there.
So when you got that bear up
No,
against the
just
ropes,
Eli.
I'm gonna rip my clothes off, leave Tart underneath,
Sorry.
coming in with that elbow.
The atomic
So
elbow.
you call yourself the Mole King? Is this happening at night? Because if it's during the day, you're dead, right?
Oh no, I'm just the mole king because I'm gonna lead the mole people at the end of the
okay.
world. Yeah.
He's not a mole. He's just the king of.
I'm just the king of the moles.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah.
See?
That's a good question.
I'm the king of the moles. There's
It's
me
best
right
to
there.
not even. It's best to not even ask.
I mean,
anything.
yes, you'll know when I assume my crown position because yes, do I have to be in underwear? I do.
So I have one more question, and then it sounds like we're pretty much done with this movie, unless there's something that we didn't get to that one of y'all talk about. But I do genuinely want to know, even Jamie, rank your top 3 Predator movies, because I am interested, and I'll go first. For me, even as much as I've talked about my frustrations with this movie, like I said at the top, I really, really enjoyed it. So for me, it's Predator, Prey, Predator 2. That's the way that they stack for me for the top 3. So Joe, what about you?
Predator 2, Prey, Predator.
Okay. So just flipped. John.
It's interesting. I actually looked up the IMDb user list because they have a nice little button you can click on, and I have a very similar preference to that list. It's number 1, not for necessarily any particular reason other than it's the one I found first, and then this movie, which I was not expecting. If it's even showed up in top 5, I was going to be surprised. So I was shocked. So that's number 2. Then for me, I think Predator 2 and Predators are kind of tied, but I'm going to lean into the Predators just because I love the Predator on Predator fight that you get to see in that movie.
You get a lot more of the mythos of them in that one too, I guess.
You do.
Yeah. Jamie.
I don't remember any of them. So
Only
guess
seen
what?
one.
Alien versus Predator because there's aliens in it, and then this movie, and then maybe I've seen a third one.
I love it.
Apparently I was told I did see Adrian Brody in theaters, whatever one that is, and that does sound familiar now. That like I'm sure it's one of those. If I turned it on, I'd be like, oh, I saw this movie. You know what I mean? But I remember nothing about it. So
He's
and I
ripped.
really, yeah, Adrian Brody was ripped.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wasn't that movie?
Yeah, he got jacked for that movie.
Yeah, and I honestly don't remember Alien vs Predator, and I'm sure it's fucking terrible. But I love me some xenomorphs, so I'm just gonna say anything where I get to see them. I don't even care what it is. I watch it. So,
Fair enough. Eli,
but no, you can't even count my rankings because I don't know them at all.
No, they're totally legitimate.
The first one is always going to be number 1, purely for the pure fact that Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to wear the Predator suit, wore the costume one day, I think, and was like, fuck this. Predator 2, because I don't know why, but it just tickles me seeing Danny Glover, who I'm pretty sure has been 70 for the last 80 years, old man run through that movie. And then I'd say probably this,
Okay.
number 3.
Yeah, it drops off pretty hard for you after that.
Yeah. I like this one was to me was probably better than the last couple, but like I just maybe it's just like I don't know, maybe it's the mythos. I think the mythos could be interesting maybe, but like I just think that what they do with them, it just takes away with what I like to see. So
Yeah. Well, and the reason I asked the question is because this is, according to the last poll that I saw, this is the highest rated of all the Predator movies. Like this blows the rest of them out of the water. It is the highest critically rated and highest audience rated of all of the Predator movies, which is really interesting. It's also the highest viewed of any TV show, any movie, anything, any program that Hulu's put on. This is the top, and that's less surprising to me. Hulu's got some great stuff, but the way that they push marketing on this a lot. And obviously this is a property that a lot of people are excited about, but it is still the highest viewed show or movie or program of any kind on Hulu, which I thought
That's
was
interesting. Not that they have a ton of original programming but that is interesting. They have Only Murders in the Building. I don't know how wide that is though, but it is a really good show. But yeah, I guess they don't have a lot of critically acclaimed. They're not Netflix. Not that the Netflix shows are fantastic, but all these Netflix shows seem to like blow up.
Is Handmaid's Tales a Hulu?
Oh, that's a Hulu. I never watched it, but that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
it is
that's
huge,
interesting. Yeah, that's
kind of
interesting.
gives a testament to this.
Yeah, you're right. Now that you say that, yeah, I like couldn't think of what Hulu had that was like that thing. That's
been
one of
sort
them.
Marquee pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, I got a random aside here question.
Okay.
Since Disney owns 20th Century Fox, do we consider Nauru a Disney princess?
No.
Yes.
I'm going to answer that one, and it's
Who was
no.
that princess though?
She's not a princess. It's
She's a
not
war
Disney.
chief.
They just own it, but they own everything. They own Marvel. They own Star Wars. They own everything.
She is the new war
That's true.
chief, so she is royalty, quote unquote, for the tribe. By the way, when they named her the war chief, I'm like, well, this tribe's screwed.
'Cause she doesn't give a shit.
Unless they set their camp up somewhere where there's a bunch of dirt she can slide through and trees she can jump off of.
Well, if they come across a bunch of predators, she'll know how to take them out.
Well, she know.
I just would personally like to see like some character actor in Disney World dressed up as her walking around.
That would
Not
be
gonna happen.
fantastic.
Sorry.
With some glow paint.
Yes.
Carrying a predator, a severed predator head.
Oh, yeah, that'll go
obviously.
far.
And then when the little kids want to get their Disney book signed, she dips her finger in its neck hole,
That would be awesome.
scribbles
That's
with her
true.
finger.
Every Disney princess has its pet. Her pet would be the head.
Or
Would it
the
be her
Oh,
dog?
it would be the dog. Yeah.
No, it would be the head.
That
This is a
dog's a
dark
The
perfect.
Disney
dog
World.
wearing the head.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
I love it.
I think we've just nailed it.
I hope Disney's got plenty of money for child psychologists because
Listen, they fucked a lot of us up in the 80s and 70s. Like they should be paying all our therapy
That's
bills
true.
in some of those movies.
Didn't they make Baby Geniuses? I think they do.
They did.
What is
Yeah.
that?
That's baby geniuses.
What is
a
Baby
terrible
It's a
movie.
developmental.
It's horrible.
Terrible movie.
It's
What
a
is it?
developmental program for babies, literally,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and it's not great.
I'm sorry I took us there.
No worries. I think you and I are the only ones that have PTSD for all of that as dads.
Uh,
Did anybody else see the shenanigans, or as Eli calls them, shenanigans, about that there was a 2019 fan film that you can find on YouTube. It's called Warriors: Predator. That was made by a
Is
guy
it
named
inside
Chris
a bar?
R. No. The Warriors:
Oh man. Oh, can we get a Warriors, like the 70s movie Warriors versus the Predator? I would be so into that.
There's a YouTube channel where they take fictional characters and like not real actors, but like actors and have them fight. And they've had the Predator on a couple times. Like Predator fought Goku. He lost. Predator also fought Batman. He lost.
Wait, who's he lost? Batman or Predator?
No, Predator lost.
okay.
Predator lost to Batman?
Predator lost to
come
Batman.
on.
Predator
my
fought
God.
somebody else. Oh, they did a funny one. It was the Home Alone kid versus the Predator.
I like that
And
one
this is going to shock everybody. Predator lost.
because he always loses. Every movie he loses.
I hope it's like the Home Alone kid for Home Alone 3.
Oh
Like
god.
the kid
Not
nobody
Macaulay
remembers.
Culkin. Like not Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
know what, though?
the kid with the ball cut.
I don't even know who was in
there.
the.
Anyway, so this fan film that you can find on YouTube, it's about 8 minutes, is actually a predator fighting a Native American female warrior. So the guy who created that is calling shenanigans on.
Lawsuit.
But I watched it, and it is, to your point earlier, Jamie, it is absolutely a spirit Halloween predator costume.
Doesn't mean they didn't see it and improve upon it.
Exactly. But it
Man, this guy's got a great idea.
Oh,
good
I'm going to make
artists.
mine John Wick.
So
Which
go out
I
there
will
and
argue
look that
she is John Wick because they kidnapped her dog. That's the first time she's a badass, killed 4 people.
up.
That's a great point.
She acted like John Wick in the beginning with her sliding, rolling around, jumping,
So
and then all of a sudden, dog gets kidnapped. That's when she gets serious.
That's when everybody should get serious.
Goes,
The
kills
dog
4
gets
people,
kidnapped.
goes save her dog.
We're not having
See-
fun at that point.
I don't know what
about
I would
this?
do.
Set Predator in Philly, have somebody kidnap the person's dog in Philly and make it John Wick.
Oh my god!
Joe,
If
go home.
Predator went to
Oh, wait, you are
Philly,
home. Joe,
they would
sign on.
ban all other predators from going there because
the
they
fuck
would
outta
all
here.
die.
God damn it.
I would watch Predator
That
versus John
word.
Wick.
That fucking word.
yeah, I share your anger, Jamie.
Yeah, it's
Sure, we're in
terrible.
the street
And
for
he
that.
knows. He knows it. He's been waiting this whole time to
He's had
throw
his
it in
finger on the
somewhere.
button the whole episode. Time to drop bombs.
I just can't wait till Dave drops his bomb.
Oh, I'm telling you, not today, Dave. Don't do this to me today.
Do what?
You know what? You son of a bitch.
Oh, I don't have anything. I did have something for John.
Ooh.
Because I know when we had the Thing episode, he talked about digital matte paintings or matte paintings. That's an area. This one has a bunch, but I had no idea. Like they're really well done, and I can see it because obviously there's power lines and stuff. But apparently it was a guy named Rakesh who did him. He started in Bollywood. But has worked his way to Hollywood, and he's done movies like Raised by Wolves, Vikings, Hellboy, and Ad Astra, doing matte paintings and then digital matte paintings. But I thought you'd appreciate that. I didn't even know they were in there.
I didn't either. So no, that's amazing. Oh, and to answer your earlier question where it was filmed, they filmed this in Calgary, Alberta.
Okay,
Canada.
that's what I thought. I thought it was on the Canadian side, which makes sense. But yeah, you would still have a lot that you'd have to be painting out. But it was totally seamless. I thought you'd appreciate that little piece of
I do.
He also did the ones in Antlers. By the way.
I son of a bitch. I knew it. I knew it. Oh my God.
Got him.
You okay, Eli?
No, I hate that. But listen, I always try to find a positive side in a movie or parts I like. In Antlers, there's that one kid. That was it.
That can be the matte paintings.
Apparently, it employed all these people, though. Like all
I hate
these,
it.
like it's been
I hate
week after
that.
week of all these people worked on this movie.
Kerry Washington forgot that she was in it. She was just doing it for buy her new summer home. So they have somebody to spend, I guess.
Who did you say?
Kerry Russell.
Or what's her name? Kerry Russell. Whatever.
Kerry
Holy
Washington.
shit.
It don't matter. Listen, I'm so frustrated.
George Washington.
This is like
great granddaughter.
8th week in a row
Kerry.
that you brought up that trash bag of a movie.
Fish.
How dare you?
The fact
Fish in
that
a barrel.
the young actor actually liked our post about the movie makes it all that more tragic that Eli hated it this much.
But I said he did really good. I talked
Did
that
he
kid
though?
up. He was the best part about that movie.
Was he?
The bar was
Sounds
pretty
like
low as
Eli's
well.
caused a scandal.
I don't care.
Well,
I'm
Yeah,
old.
this
He's
is the movie that
no
just keeps on giving.
Babadook kid, so I don't care. It's
Oh,
fine.
that is 1,000% true.
He's not going to remember that movie in 2 years.
Any other
Anyway.
thoughts?
Besides terrible children in movies.
That was for you, Eli. I thought you'd want to know that. There were other things that I could draw from, but we'd already gone down the music side. And I thought I'd be able to slide that one in as
Yeah, I appreciate a different connection actually than the same guy from the same guy who obviously
same
has scored every
violinist.
movie. Yeah, every movie we watch.
Just saying, Dave, one day you will taste ash in your mouth and you will know the debt is paid.
I don't like ash.
Well,
It's
you better get accustomed to it.
well. On that note, we will jump into our official rating of Prey 2022, and I will let Joe jump us off with our Trailblaze rating system. Joe, what do you think of this one?
I'm going Trail Angel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Went in not expecting it to actually be as good as it was and walked away very surprised. And I watched it. I would have watched it again if it weren't for the show, and I'll likely watch it in the future.
Yeah, this one will be in rotation. Yeah, I agree. For me as well. John, the Encyclopedia de Predator.
Oh, I'm sure there's nerds online that put me to shame for sure. And I'm on the same trail with Joe. I'm doing the same thing. Trail Angel. I don't remember this part of the rating scale, but it fits so nicely because I don't remember the rating scale ever. That's like that's my new running gag. I don't
You
remember.
can't just write it down. Like
I just don't bother.
really that little effort you're going to put into this.
It's Eli's got his Mole King. This is what I got. And it's not much, but it's something.
It's your little piece of property. Yeah.
It's my little corner I've carved out.
Fair enough. Jamie, what about you?
Blue, fun,
Blue?
enjoy,
Okay.
right? Just
That's
distraction.
higher than I thought you were going to get.
I know,
Nice.
because once we get through Animal Death 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, started to have a good time with it. If I could just start the movie there, maybe I'd watch it again and again. But
Well,
I
yeah,
might watch it. I honestly might watch it again and skip the whole beginning, and not just because of that, because I kind of want to watch all the fight scenes again and see all the deaths again. Like you guys, except for Eli, have all seen it multiple times. I have not yet.
Minute 55 will get you right to when it cuts to black.
Perfect.
And you're in the ash-ridden forest.
Perfect. Thank you. So, because like I would like to see all that again. I'm not sure it's going to be in like rotation for me, so that's why I can't really put it much higher. Like I think I'm in the right place with Blue. Like it was like watching it. I had heard a lot of hype about it, so I was very nervous. But once you get through the beginning and like all that stuff and the setup, which is fine and it's well written, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm ready. Like let's get to the meat of this. There's a predator in this for a reason. Let's see it do its thing. And so once it does,
then you're all in.
It kicks off. Yeah.
The few things that you had posted earlier this week on Discord, I genuinely had prepared myself for you to come and say, screw this movie.
I know. I knew you would. And I knew because based on how I was writing, I knew you would. But I really was ready to say, screw this movie at animal death number 7. But
I get it. Yeah.
It was just a lot. Like it was just like didn't stop. It was just like one right after the other. But
right. And to your point, I do agree that you could have cut half of them out and it
some of them, and I still get the point of a lot, but like we didn't really need all of them. There were some we could have. And I know, like if anybody listening, like they're not terrible. We're not seeing mutilation. I'm saying it, but it's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it became like a running
was made.
Yeah, and it became a running joke for me to keep tallying, which I did on paper because I was like, this is out of control. I thought I was going to stop, and it just got going. So sorry.
Eli, what about you, my man?
I can't in good conscience give this a brown trail. And maybe I might need your help here a little, Dave. As I get older and wiser in my old age, I realize I have a weird taste in movies, I guess. I like what I like. I'm ashamed of it.
Let your flag fly, my man.
I think generally, if you like action movies, I'm sure people would like this. There were parts of this movie I enjoyed. The bear scene, the fight scene with the brother. It's not quite a blue trail for me, but it's not quite a yellow trail. It's like somewhere in between.
Yellow and blue make green. Oh, there is a green. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
I got excited. Yeah.
I almost made that joke, and I was like, "There is a green trail, and I don't go green." So like, it's in between for me, a blue and a yellow.
Okay,
maybe like a teal trail.
No.
Okay.
That just seemed like 2 on the nose. No. More like I don't know. I feel like I'm at a rest stop between a yellow trail and a blue trail. And like, at times I've been on the blue trail and then at times I kind of been on the yellow trail, but like, can't say one way or the other what it is.
So once again, we have about 10 rating. I know it's not that many. And Eli has to try and find so because he can't figure out how he feels.
Hey, listen, if there's movies, I know where I'm at. And,
I know,
and this is only the second time that I've made up my own. So only the second.
So we'll say this is a really pleasant spur trail that leads to a waterfall. But when you get there, the waterfall's dry.
Yeah. And I'll never want to go to that waterfall again.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. I like it.
That works for you.
I like it. We'll call it the Mole King Trail.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
So for me, when I first saw this movie, this was 100% a Pink Blaze. It was a movie that had smitten me. I was full of smit after seeing this first time. On the repeated recent watches, this has cooled quite a bit for me. I still appreciate it and enjoy it, but it's a blue blaze for me. No green blaze necessary. This is a movie that I know I can put on and I'll enjoy. And to the points that were being made, I don't even know that I have to pay attention to it. You all have walked me off the cliff of expecting way too much of a movie of this caliber. But again, I am who I am. And every time I watch this, I'm going to be picking at the cultural things that matter to me because of just personal curiosity. And also wanting to be very cognizant of if they misuse something, I want to be aware of it. So it's a blue trail. I'll enjoy every watch of it. And the kills are first class. So it's worth it for that. So any other thoughts on this one?
No,
nope.
I think we're good.
No.
All right. Well, then we're going to talk about our giveaway for our 3rd week of Camp Wicked Wild. We are going up to $50 gift code this week for the Wicked Wild store. in order to win or to be eligible to win, what you got to do is you got to retweet the announcement, this announcement post for this episode when it goes up on Monday. Retweet it and tag us, which is at Wicked Wild We Are, in your retweet. And then I'll reach out to one of you and give you the notification and the code. So,
hey, Dave.
Yeah.
I know you said before we couldn't enter. But what happens if I have a brother named Beli? He doesn't have Twitter. Can I let him use my Twitter account?
We already talked about this. Beli's in jail, man.
Yeah, but I mean, they can tweet from jail.
Charges.
They can tweet from jail.
Yeah, but I'm afraid there in the fine print there is a disqualification for felony charges. So
wow.
Joe, just remember your kids can tweet this out and you can get some stuff.
There you go.
That's not fair. I don't have kids.
Not let my kids on Twitter. You see what I tweeted?
Yeah,
a good idea. So
Kids will learn way more about biology than I want them to learn at this point.
More questions than answers from reading through the Twitter. Yep, that's a fact. So Eli, what are we going to be following up, pray, this week with our campfire tales?
You know, I had a plan, and then when I watched this movie, Dave, I got scared.
Scared?
I got scared. I got scared that if I was ever in the wood with you fine folks, some of you are fine, that I wouldn't, and we got attacked by a predator. I don't know who's surviving. So
us, none of us.
Well, we're going to find out, Jamie, because just like Old Faithful, the Mole King knows how to make a test.
Oh, I'm missing another test.
And we're going to be testing to see if I could trust you to spot a predator or not.
So we have that coming up in just 3 days. And you'll get to hear which one of us survives. Spoiler alert, we're all dead.
I've done well on some of that. I know I started.
Did you?
I started
the cult one. You were flirty fishing, and you convinced Dave to join a cult.
I was the only one who got it right.
I wasn't on that show, and I was like, Cult of Figment? I'm in. I love Figment.
Exactly.
He wasn't even on the show to join a cult. So, like, you all failed that. Or
she won. I think my argument is, to Jamie's point, I think she won. Literally, without even making much effort, she started her own cult.
I think the fact that you're in a cult doesn't make you the winner, Dave. Okay. Hey,
No,
Dave,
she's leading a cult.
I don't know if she was leading. She more kind of flirty fished and got Dave to change his answer and become a cult member.
Okay.
Anyway.
All I know is that I won Colt and Shark, period. Let the record show that I won them both.
There's only one person here who decides winner.
This guy.
The Mole King.
I don't know. I've got editing power. I can say whatever I wanted to say.
Hey, I'll tell the real truth. I'll go on that dark side TikTok. I don't care. I'll tell them the real truth.
So, speaking of TikTok, as far as social media, if you're interested in following The Wicked Wild at all, your one and only chance is to jump on Twitter, and you can follow us at Wicked Wild We Are. That is the social media that we currently endure. That's the only one that we play in. Other than that, we are also now on YouTube, which you can subscribe and follow our channel, Wicked Wild Podcast, and you'll get to see all of our beautiful, beautiful faces while we do these reviews if you're interested. Also, subscribe and rate the show. 4 or 5 stars is always recommended, because obviously if you put less than that, it says more about you than it does us, really. I mean, we're just looking out for you at this point. Just understand that you don't want to go against the flow on this kind of thing. You just give us the rating that we deserve. You can go to our website. No, it isn't. That's our social media. Our website is thewickedwild.com. On there, you can find our shop. We've also got written reviews on books and movies. And we also have a new system, or a new segment that we just started a couple of weeks ago that we've been promoting to you, called Regional Cinema Road Trip. And as it happens, we have the curator, mastermind, brain trust behind Regional Cinema Road Trip on today's episode. So instead of me stumbling through trying to explain what it is, I'm going to throw over to Joe and let him tell you what he was thinking when he first started and what his plans are for the future.
So I don't like any of those words associated with what I'm trying to do, but I do love weird shit and weird movies and movies that really kind of delve deep outside of the realm of Hollywood. And in that you get LA, New York, and all of the areas outside there. So I thought, hell, what is better than just, we all love those moments you look back and the great road trips of your life. What kind of sparked this idea, and Dave, I don't think I told this to you. I was in Cape May, New Jersey, which I was there celebrating a wedding for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law now. It turns out that's exactly where they filmed the movie The Prowler. And it turned out to be the 40th anniversary of the movie.
Oh, wow.
And I brought the family down, and we're standing in front of the great Inn of Cape May, which is where most of the movie takes place. And everybody in my family is looking at me like a fucking weirdo. It's like, why are we taking these photos? I'm like, there's this movie, The Prowler. And you watch all those movies, you get a really good sense of like the area, the people, and while they call that, I think like Avalon Bay, California, which is kind of ridiculous because Avalon is just north in New Jersey, opposite coast. There's something to kind of dive into there. So I thought, let's start to write into these movies and all of that. First piece was on Dark August, which is in Stowe, Vermont. And so we started there and got to know some occult spirits and just really slow movie acting. And we'll see where it takes us from there. I'm thinking maybe over towards Maine.
Ah. We know there are plenty of stories to tell in Maine, so y'all can be looking for that. We are so excited. Joe is sharing that on our website and getting sort of a platform to share his passion for all the other people that would in the world that would have loved to have gone to the inn and taken their photo. They get it. So we're giving them some really cool material that's wicked and wild out there. So Joe, thank you again for being our special guest host. Tell us about what you got going on your podcast, because I know you got 2 or 3 jumping off right now.
So I have 2 other shows, and it's kind of a weird period for both shows. We're about to kind of hit a hiatus, and I'm on Films at First Sight, which pretty much I know Jamie and Dave have been on. Eli and John, if we pick the show back up again, they'll likely be on. We like to explore the first time viewings of films and what that kind of means and try to kind of push the boundaries in one way or another, whether it's like mainstream with, we have an episode coming out on George of the Jungle, or we'll get into, the sleazier exploitations of pink flamingos and, Netflix's latest exploitation film, which was Blonde, which we have coming up. So I would look for us. You can find us now at Films First Sight on Twitter, and anywhere you find your podcast, where you're going to find your podcast, you're going to find us, and that goes for my other show. So look for that, and look for a likely format change come the new year. The other show is No Film Left Behind, much more sporadic, but we're looking at 5 to 6 different films that kind of run a central theme. We're going to be kicking off the new year with an in-depth look at Jess Franco. Not sure if anybody here is familiar with him. He is also known as Jesus Franco. He mixes essentially like softcore pornography with exploitation film. So if that's your bag, come see us.
Sounds like a blast. So
It's
big things coming in 23, it sounds like. So
yeah, hopefully.
Awesome. Again, thank you for being here. Anybody who's had the privilege of sitting down and having a beer with Joe, he is genuinely a resource, a cinema resource. You know, he's just got a fantastic amount of information and a passion for independent, scrappy theater, which I love. I'm not nearly as knowledgeable, but I always appreciate somebody going out and having a dream and chasing it, which is what a lot of these independent filmmakers are out there doing. No matter what their story is, you can always appreciate the passion. So thank you for coming and representing them. If you have any thoughts, questions, any feedback on the website or on the podcast, you can always shoot me an email at podcast, podcast, at thewickedwild.com. Any other thoughts? Have I said our piece, peoples? Well, then as we always say when we're signing off for the evening, our recommendation to you, gentle listener, is that you get out there and get lost, because it may be the only place you can find yourself. Have a good night.